Well, the remaining 4 Republican hopefuls for president squared off at the 4th debate in Alabama last night. Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, and Vivek Ramaswamy traded barbs on a wide range of topics, including foreign policy, immigration, the economy. Former president and current GOP frontrunner by a long shot, Donald Trump, was not in attendance as previously. But, of course, he came up during the debate, including this back and forth between 2 of Trump's former allies about whether or not he's fit to be president again.
You just don't like, you have your thing.
Is he fit or isn't he? No, I don't have my thing.
We don't.
He's the thing. Is he fit or isn't he? You're talking about him being 80 years old.
It doesn't mean that somebody couldn't get elected. That's up to the people.
Ron, is he fit or isn't he?
Ah, the civility. Instead of attending the debate, Trump hosted a fundraiser in Florida. Let's bring in former chair of the Illinois GOP, Pat Brady. Pat, I mean, that was a really high level of civil discourse, right?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
But, I mean, it was that hot last night because, let's just be honest, you're running for second. You want to get second in Iowa. Iowa's 5 weeks away, which is remarkable. Who won?
I don't think anybody won, but I think because I think you have to break down. They all scored in different ways. But the thing is that Governor DeSantis was on the hot seat. He needed to have a breakaway moment in this campaign to turn the momentum of his campaign around. He's in 3rd place in Iowa right now. If he gets 3rd in Iowa in 5 weeks, he's out.
He's out.
So I thought he had his best debate night. He's very good at repeating Republican, conservative, social conservative talking points. Very effective. He had a good night. Chris Christie had a good night. That clip's not, I don't think, represents how good he actually did. And Nikki Haley, always steady. She gives the best answer. She has a positive outlook. She's, in my opinion, head and shoulders above the rest of them insofar as she would be the best nominee we can put out there. And Vivek, he's just a twerp, and he needs to go away. He was obnoxious last night. He was disrespectful to Ambassador Haley. And I'm only grateful that I'll never have to watch him again.
Yeah, Haley did, former UN ambassador, governor, probably got the most credentials of an executive on the dais last night. She took a lot of dings, though. Did she?
Yeah, they went at.
Well enough?
She did, and that's what they say. The buckets of winning. If you segregate it out, she took the blows. And if you know her history at all, when she ran in 2010 for governor from the state house there, they did the same thing to her. It was all the establishment ganged up on her, and she handles it so well. She gets mad, but she doesn't show it, and she handles the answers very well. And it was not a good look for them to gang up on her because she handles it.
I mean, you have 3 guys, and then you
exactly.
But she is poised.
And it's going to be a big year for getting women to turn out to vote, and she just handles it. She's really a pro. But Vivek owes her an apology and should never be on stage again after what he did last night.
Yeah, and he may not be, actually.
We're hoping.
So here's one of the articles we're reading this morning. A reelected Trump could make himself president for life. This, of course, an opinion piece, but there is some thought behind it in that he and his surrogates would have 4 years to trifle with the Constitution, and he clearly has enough supporters, people who supported overturning the 2024 election. And this argument is not the first time it's been made. Do you think that, and he's got a Supreme Court heavily weighted towards his side of things, does this, even espousing this president for life, does it hold water?
I think it could.
I mean, not that he wouldn't try, but does it hold, like...
Could he do it?
Yeah.
If you get participation from the right people, yeah.
Which he's proven.
Well, you know what? I have more faith in the military. You got to get the military.
Okay.
Like, he tried to get the military to get involved in the election that he lost in 2020, and they wouldn't do it.
Right.
Now, you say the Supreme Court. I'm not sure if the Supreme Court's going to go along with everything he wants to do. They're life appointments. They don't care what he does anymore. It requires collaboration by people at high levels. That being said, there's a lot of collaboration by Republicans now. This new Speaker Mike Johnson, I didn't know the history when he got elected and what he said. He's a real election denier and conspiracy theorist. And he would be an ally of Trump, and he's Speaker of the House. It's probably the least important spot to stage that kind of coup. But when Trump says this and says it again and again, you got to wonder. And I think it's not a good. I don't think, and Liz Cheney's been on the stump with her book. I think you need to pay attention to what she has to say. And I think everybody needs to go and read the January 6th indictment and see what these guys actually did to try to overturn an election, and it should frighten you.
Yeah, well, I mean, Liz Cheney was on CBS this week saying what he's talking about is authoritarian. He's using fascist language, et cetera.
And he's never had.
Here's a fascinating thing. Got to move on, Pat. McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy. I mean, this guy was, not to be trifled with 6 months ago.
Yeah.
He was by all accounts, a heck of a Speaker of a House, a prolific fundraiser, the type of guy, if you're a Republican, you want him as your House Speaker. Boom, he gets ousted in a crazy turn of events, and he now, weeks later, is saying he's done. He's just done. He's done with Congress by year's end. What are we to make of this?
I don't think it's unusual at all. Typically, when you leave,
when you take someone's power, it's like Samson losing his hair.
Yeah, right? And they go. And it's just, I was a little surprised that actually Speaker Pelosi stayed beyond her being Speaker. Most times people leave, and I think he can't have the same influence that he did even when he was in the previous spots prior to when he was Speaker. So I'm not as shocked by that. I just assumed
not as shocked, but I mean, I would have thought he would have given it one final, like he had enough support where I would have thought he may have given it another shot, or did he just say,
I think he's done with it. You talk to a lot of these guys now, some former members and even current members, they're like, I don't want to be around here anymore. Even McHenry, the guy that we thought might be Speaker a few weeks ago, he's not running again.
Yeah.
No one really is enjoying their time in in Washington right now, except Marjorie Taylor and some of the other bomb throwers. Even Lauren Boebert's walked it back because her constituents told her to cut it out. Yeah. So this doesn't surprise me at all. But the environment in D.C. for Republicans it's not a fun place to be right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you're not a screamer on either side, if you're somewhere in the middle where most
and
of
there
America
are, and I know people
where most of America is, it's extremely frustrating.
Yeah, there are a lot of good people there.
Yeah. Pat, we appreciate your insight as always. I love cutting you off at the end, too. I always bring newspaper articles out here just to prove.
You're not the first one that's cut me off.
Prove that I can read. Okay, my man, we appreciate having you on.
Care.
Thank you for your insight. Former